Hi, this is Kimberly from Are You Awakening? And I am continuing on with my crazy series to actually talk in public about things that people have been called crazy for believing. And why? Who cares what people believe as long as they're doing their own thing and they're not hurting anybody? But anyway, today we're going to talk about the Lizzies. Right? The Lizzies. Lizzies stand for lizards, which is an endearing Pleiadian term for the reptilian race. And if you've done any research whatsoever into reptilians, chances are on the internet you've heard all the horror stories about, them backing the Illuminati and the banking families and all of the government, etc., and they can change into snake eyes on CNN and all that stuff. I'm not going to talk about that because there is always truth in something that's being reported, even if it's elaborated upon to no end with a lot of falsities. But just like in Men in Black, where they go and look at the tabloids to find out what's really going on, well, yeah, there is always a little bit of seed of that. However, labeling an entire species as good or bad is not serving anybody. I mean, you can't do that with humans, right? Humans aren't all good and all bad. We have humans that are serving themselves. We have humans that are serving others. With any species, you can't label everyone good or bad. It's just impossible. It would be like saying, oh, you're human, you're bad, just because there are some humans out there that really don't serve humanity very well, right? That's their choice, but that doesn't make all of us bad. Same thing with the reptilians, right? So there's millions and millions and millions and millions of them out there. Who can say that they're all bad? So I want to get that out of the way. I'm done with all that. You know now to use your gut, your discernment as to whether you feel comfortable researching or learning more about this. But I do want you to know that there's an awful lot of fake news out there about that because they want you to feel fearful. And if that's what has to be published for you to feel fearful, well then, fantastic, because the dark polarity, the negative polarity side of our 3D existence feeds off of your fear. All right? Now, I don't subscribe to that fear. No, I like the Lizzies. I think they're beautiful. I mean, yeah, there could be some that are not so nice. I absolutely, completely, 100% agree with you on that. And chances are 100% chance that there are plenty of them that have gone past that service to self perspective and now are in a positive manner. All right. And you want to learn about more of that? Rob Gautier is a channel for a very nice reptilian, and I'll put a link in there for you if you want to, hear what they have to say when they're really seeing the world from a perspective of light. And there's also some neutral ones, Kalask, I've talked to you about that. I'll put a link in there for ones who have moved over a little bit from the service to self perspective to at least neutral to see both sides of things and be okay with viewing life that way. So, the Lizzies are just playing a part for you. They're playing the part of the bad guy in your movie, all right? Someone's got to do it. I think that's a great service for them to do that for you. And it's entirely up to you how you view that. Do you want to view the bad guy as somebody who's oppressing you and who's coming here to eat you? Well, then that's what you're going to see. That's the information that's going to come to you if you start looking for it. All right? Do you want to view reptilians as the coolest thing on earth, being, some of them being hybrids between humans and reptiles? I think that's amazing. I want to meet a guy who's 14 feet with a tail and scales and really big teeth. Do I want him to eat me? No. I'm going to envision him as somebody who is different from me, maybe looks scary because we were taught to be afraid of big, scary, scaly things with teeth, right? From every movie and how many books and all sorts of things there. We're taught that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that because they look like that, that they are out there to kill you. All right? That's entirely up to you as to whether you want to believe that sort of thing. Okay, so where are they now? What are they doing now? The ones that we're dealing with on Earth. We're not going to deal with all of them on Earth. We're dealing with those on Earth that are playing that, most of them playing that bad guy perspective so that you have something to fear and you have something to question, right? And those are the guys that are showing up again in reality. Okay, now reality is your reality. So it could be, you might start seeing articles about them, or you might hear about the event and there's going to be a false flag with, you know, these reptiles coming out of the sky and making it like they're going to save us from all of our problems by curing diseases and this sort of thing. Totally going to happen for some people because that's what they're looking for. And then there's the idea that these people coming from the sky here to save us are really false gods. People start worshiping them, etc., etc. Again, what do you want to believe? Do you want to believe that they're here to hurt us? Do you want that bad guy to remain the bad guy in your film? Because if you do, then keep believing that. Keep reading things about that. You're going to solidify it in your reality because you're focusing on it. Or do you want to be interested at the fact that there are species out there that are so different from us that maybe we could learn something, right? I mean, these are old guys. These guys have been around a very long time. So we as a human race are pretty young in the whole galactic perspective. We're young. We could learn something from that. So if that's what you want to focus on, like, okay, we were scared of these guys, but maybe there's something we could learn from them, and maybe they're not these bad guys that we thought. All right? Again, this is an internal thing. All right? So you're hearing all of these things about the event and taking down all these bad guys. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of people who are going to come up and be held responsible for things that they've done. There's no doubt about that. I'm not denying that. What I'm emphasizing is that there are lots of people who project that fear that they have and they put it into websites and videos and that sort of thing, and it's going to hit you and you're going to have to decide how you want to view it. All right? It's up to you to decide that. It's internal, people. Internal. Okay? Well, I'll say that over and over again because there's so much out there coming in at us regarding what's changing in our world, the new earth, the awakening, all of that. There's all of this stuff coming in, and it's coming in from an external perspective, but all that's doing is giving you a chance to look inside and say, how do I feel about this? Am I scared about this, or am I interested in this? And it's based on how you focus is what your reality is going to look like. We do not all have the same reality. Okay? That's the biggest thing I can tell you. The Lizzie reality is horrible on this side and it's okay on this side, and you get to choose. So I hope I've made that clear. You know, it's very subtle, and when you're waking up and you're having all this stuff come at you, it's so normal to question what is right, what is true. And the answer to what is true is only internal. It's all internal. It's not what your friend says. It's not what this blog says. It's internal. Does it feel true for you? Okay, because the only reason these things are coming in for you is because you, your higher self, you wants you to look at it. It's bringing you experiences so that you can look inside and say, how do I feel about this? What am I going to focus on? That's all life is. at all, okay? So I know I'm all like crazy, but I love lizards. I do. I love them. Okay, I could go tomorrow and read an article that says that they eat people, and that could totally be true for the people that are focusing on lizards eating people. But when you're dealing with a reality that's really all you, it's really what I want to believe in, okay? And what I don't want to believe in, I ignore. It's still there. Don't get me wrong. It's still there for the people that want to believe in it. But I don't want to believe in it, and so I'm going to look over here. And it doesn't exist for me anymore because this is what exists for me. All right? This is what I'm choosing to show up in my reality. Knowing full well that there's always going to be polarity in our 3D world. There's always going to be what we would label negative and what we would label positive. There's always going to be that. It's a matter of what you're going to focus on that determines what your physical world is going to look like. Okay, so I think I've knocked that into your head. And if you have any questions about this, I know it's such a heated subject. I mean, you know, you start looking at what Corey Good says, and he's, you know, had to translate for these reptilians, etc., etc. He is probably in contact with the ones who are really playing the bad guys for us, and he's relating that back as his experience. Totally okay, totally valid. Do you want to focus on it? Up to you. All right? You know what? I think it's really cool if we could get along with everybody. Yeah. All right, well, enough about lizards for today. Don't forget, always be you all the time. Love.